Hey everyone, welcome to part 8, the bonus live stream of this painting of an angel. So I'm so glad to be able to do this. Last night I had a super chat goal. If I had 5 super chats, I would have this bonus live stream. So it's a lot of fun. I'm so happy to do that. And so that is fantastic. Last night we went over quite a bit. We actually worked on her lips and just concentrated on really getting the forms and the three-dimensional quality of her mouth and how it reacts to her cheeks with the depressor anguli oris going down here, and also the nasolabial fold, and kind of working that out. Even on the shadow side, there's a slight light because the depresses in, so it creates a light on the light side and a shadow on the shadow side. So that is very, you know, you won't see that if you're not concentrating on one particular form at a time. So last night we had some extra time, and I actually went ahead and worked on the form of the eye on camera left. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to concentrate on the eye on camera right. And so we're starting off fresh, so I'm going to start with my more detailed brush, which is my Extreme Patriot Arrow, customized by myself. And we're just going to get rid of the water. So we park the airbrush and kind of put water in there. That's always the best practice, and I learned that from Drew Blair. Great technique, and it's really helped out my airbrushing, saved on cleanup time. So definitely, so when you're working and you know you're going to be working the next day or even 12 hours, it's beneficial just to park it with some water. Hey, Mr. Bobby, all the way from Cape Cod, how's everything? It's so good to see you. How are you, sir? So I'm going to wash out my cup, right? We're going to shoot some water through here, and we should be operational. And also I like to clean the cap as well, so that's really important. So it's so good to see you, Bobby. I'm so glad you're doing okay. That's great to hear. And I'm just going to clean off this cap. And we're going to probably mix like a burnt sienna or maybe red iron oxide over here for her eye, because we really want to start making the retroapicularis oculi pad three-dimensional. So we're going to concentrate on this form here and move down. Hey, Airbrush Dungeon, how's it going? So great to see you. How's everything? So glad you're here. And Airbrush Dungeon, are you from the UK? I'm not sure, but please let me know where you are, sir. So so good to see you. Hey, Mickey, how's it going? So good to see you, my friend. Ah, thank you. Mickey says the painting looks awesome. PA, real close to here. That's great. I'm in Jersey, so I'm so glad you're here. And Mickey, are you from Australia? So I'm getting different people here because, 12 noon is to different parts of the world and everything like that. So that's really cool. I'm so glad. Maybe I'll do more 12 o'clock live streams in the future. So that's cool. So, of course, we're going to need quite a bit of cups, right? Because we're going to be working on this color right up here. So we're going to make sure we make that happen. Let's see. So I would say we're doing Wicked today, which is good. Mark, how's it going? Great to see you all the way from Canada. Mickey, great. That's so cool. New Zealand. That's amazing. What an honor to have someone from New Zealand here. And Mark from Calgary, it's great to see you. How's everything? And I'm going to be diluting with 4011. With Wicked, you really do. You don't really want to mix water with it, And, Airbrush Dungeon just got back from his cruise a couple of days. Oh, where was your cruise, may I ask? That's amazing. I always wanted to go on a cruise, but haven't as of yet. I was actually talking about a cruise yesterday. Uh, but yeah, I would love that. That would be amazing. I love the fact that you can eat at 3 o'clock in the morning. I think that's the one thing that's really drawing me to it. You know, it's pretty funny. That's what I'm thinking about. So that's very cool. So I have my 4011, and I like doing 1-to-1. I don't like going much thinner than that. So there we go, just a little 1-to-1. Now it might be a little potent, you know, just this straight iron oxide. It might be a little potent, but we'll test it out. And I like having this little plastic palette knife, and you can always just wipe it and start again, and you know, you don't run out of the little sticks and stuff like that, which is really good. Oh, the Caribbean. Oh man, that must have been nice. And there was no hurricanes, right? So that must have been a relief, that's for sure. Oh man. So I'm going to cut this just a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Just a little bit with a gray. And so I'm looking for a mid-tone gray just to kind of calm it down just a bit. Let's see if we can make this happen. Okay. Now with the gray, I have the do you see how it kind of chills it out a little bit? It's not so hot, right? So I'm using Createx for this, and I'm going to put a little bit more because I like the way it reacted to it. Kind of calmed things down. Didn't really change the color, just knocked down the saturation just a little bit. And that looks like it can definitely assimilate much better into everything. Great question, Airbrush Dungeon. I haven't. I want to, but like Mr. Leahy, I just haven't gotten around to it. You know, just working so much and everything. But definitely, have you tried it? What do you think? Has anyone tried the 4021 reducer? I just hear amazing things about it. That's really cool. So I have this in my airbrush right now, and we're going to do a test spray because, you know, I never want to test on the actual airbrush. It's on my painting, right? Because that's really bad. Been there, done that, you know? And so I'd rather see something horrible here than happen on my painting. Okay, I like this color. So that's really cool. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some magnets to keep this down so it doesn't move. And so like many artists, I like to have like a metal, like a little metal panel here, and then I use the magnets to hold down my artwork and the stencils and stuff like that, which is really cool. And so that's good. And now I'm just going to I'm going to blow this up, blow up her eye, and we're going to there's like a warmth here. I'm just going to hit that. Again, just make sure I have my spray and my aim. Okay, good. There we go. So you see that, just that little warmth, that is where the retrorbicularis oculi fat pad kind of tucks into the upper eyelid, the crease of the upper eyelid. raise the air pressure a little bit. Hey Ryan, how you doing from Canada? Great to see you. How's everything? Oh, so great that you're having your coffee break with us. I'm honored. Thank you. Yeah, last night's live stream, I did. If I had 5 super chats, I would go ahead and do a bonus live stream, and that's what I'm doing today. So that was really cool. So I'm very happy to do that. So you're just hitting that warmth there, and then we could see if there's anything on the other eye I should address, with that warmth. And I'm pretty happy with the other eye, but there is some warmth right here, right along here. The transition tone is this particular red iron oxide by Wicked, and this is 0012. And Willie, how you doing from all the way from Massachusetts? How's everything? It's great to see you, my friend. Willie's been a friend of the channel forever, right? I mean, back in 2016, 2017. So it's great to see you, Willie. And so now I'm hitting that kind of transition tone with this red iron oxide. Remember, I added some gray with it. And definitely, Willie. I hit some gray with it because it was just too powerful out of the bottle. Too much saturation. It would have overpowered all the colors around it. And so you really have to, when you're working in color, making sure that you control that saturation. It's so important to do that, so very important. And we're just going to come down with this color. I'm getting great flow, which is nice. Ryan, thank you for the super chat, my friend. That is such an honor. I appreciate you. Loving your work, and thank you so much for spending time here on Thursday afternoon on the bonus live stream. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate that. And so with this, I'm just going to continue kind of bringing in this red iron oxide and kind of unifying the shadows, right? That's so important. Over here, it's interesting. So in this painting, the transition tone is actually a red iron oxide. But red iron oxide mixed with a gray, kind of calm that down. So it's not overly saturated, right? We don't want that. That would be bad. And I'm always testing for aim and everything on my scrap paper here. Kind of bringing in, I got to go a little darker here. But there is nice saturation here. Got a little bit of a tip dry here, not much. Nothing to write home about. On this side, I think where the hair meets the hairline, well, not actually the hairline, but where the hair meets the frontal bone here, we have a little bit of this red iron oxide over here. So basically, hanging out in this area, unless I see that color being somewhere else, and just take advantage of having that in my airbrush totally mixed up. So Mickey, I'm loving your artwork as well. So fantastic. So I'm going to show you down here on her neck where the sternocleidomastoid is. And you see how it's really cool, like cool in temperature. So I'm going to use this color to very lightly just warm that up and sort of assimilate it to the rest of her neck area, right? Now I don't want to spray on her face, so I'm going to cover it with this freehand shield here. It's a 6-inch freehand shield. I use it like 99% of the time. It's very rare that I would use a different freehand shield, right? So, Airbrush Dungeon, thanks for hanging out. It's great to see you. I hope to see you on Wednesday if you get a chance. So have a great weekend, and thanks for sharing your really cool cruise with us. So you have a great weekend, sir, and thanks again for hanging out. I really appreciate you. And so I'm going to come back up here so you see how I nicely kind of get a unity. Oh, fantastic. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Oh, that's great. Warming up this area here where her zygomatic bone goes down, right? That's very important. And there's also this kind of transition tone right where her hair meets. Now that's really, hard edge. We're going to fix that. Edges you can always soften. Okay, great. So we have that color and I'm happy with it. And we're going to stay in this area. I don't want to get distracted and go into the wing and everything. It's important to stick to an area and work out the three-dimensional qualities of a particular form. When I say like a particular form, I mean like this area kind of looks like a sweet potato or a yam, right? It's kind of rounded and it's oblong. So my job is to just make this round. And then I could move down to her eyelid and how the light is hitting it and everything. We can make that round as well. And just kind of move out and make things round. That's what's going to make the painting very interesting and compelling, because it's going to have a three-dimensional quality that is going to be heightened because I really concentrated on one shape at a time. So I'll be able to see a lot of things that I normally would not see. I'm going to come in with some paintbrush techniques and stuff like that, but we're going to really work on getting this all resolved here. So if I look over here, I can see that there's kind of a reflected light or your light coming from below, which is hitting this area right here, right, as it comes in, right? So see this little area of light, and how I could actually make that stand out is make the shape next to it a little bit darker. So it's not always making the shape lighter to make it stand out. Sometimes you just have to darken what's next to it. And I'm going to do that now. So see how that stands out a little bit more because I darkened what was next to it. So it makes a lot of sense not to have to continue making things lighter or darker where it could be the right value. It's just what's next to it is kind of throwing it off. So that's something to always take into consideration. Same thing here, come up there. And now there's some really nice yellow forms, right? Things are on the yellow side. So I'm going to bring in kind of like a raw sienna kind of color. So let's see if we can. Oh, Willie says he's got to get back to work. It was great watching, even if it was just for a couple of minutes. She's looking awesome. Willie, thank you so much for hanging out. It's great to see you. Great to hear you're doing well. And I hope you have a really amazing weekend. Hope to see you soon, my friend. Thank you. I want to come in with some golden colors, right? It's very, not golden the brand, but golden the color. So what I'm going to do is I mixed all my, you see here, I mixed all of, let me zoom this out. I pre-mixed in these little bottles all of my Wicked colors to echo what's on the color wheel. And that has to do with my color mixing system. And that makes life a lot easier than trying to find a particular, thanks so much, Willie. And so rather than trying to find a, you know, a particular tube of paint or bottle of paint, right? It makes life a lot easier. Let's see if I can zoom out a little further. There we go. So I want to bring in some nice yellow colors. So I'm going to go into my color picking method, which will be available soon. I keep saying that, but I really have to execute that color theory course, the Gideon color theory, because it makes finding color and color matching very easy. Isolating colors so it doesn't confuse, get that simultaneous contrast and all that stuff. So it really is helpful. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to try and find this kind of golden raw sienna color because I see that a lot in her face. There's a lot of different hues. You have your orange hues, your yellow hues, your red hues, and it's important to discern where they are. And so now I'm trying to hit some of these yellowish colors here. And this method will actually, teach me how to get that color. And it's actually a yellow orange, that's the hue, and then it's manipulated from there. Okay, so I have the ingredients, and then this color method actually will teach me how to actually get the ingredients. So I'm going to use this yellow orange color here, and I have, so this yellow orange and the other color, we're going to put that over here, and let's see if we can make this happen. Now it's 50-50, so I mixed this hue with another color 50-50, and I got that. I might add just a little bit more. Let's see. The bad thing about these little bottles is that it does get clogged sometimes. But I think the, Ryan says the break's over. Looks awesome. Looks beautiful. Thanks, Ryan. Great to see you. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. That means so much. Thank you, sir. So I have this here. So this is kind of yellow orange. I'm just going to put a few drops of orange because it's leaning. The hue is leaning. It's a yellow orange, but it's kind of leaning more towards orange. So I'm just going to add a little bit of orange to that. Now yellow is relatively weak, so just a couple of drops of orange will really shift that color. And I already have 4011 in here, so I don't really have to dilute it. But and then I'm going to mix it with some Createx illustration. You can do that, so that's no problem. And let's see if this would be the next color to put in there. And again, I'm doing that 50-50, but remember, all color is not the same. Some color has more pigmentation to it, right? And you see it's a yellow color, but I don't think it's quite there. It needs to be a little more ruddy, meaning that, also we got to kill the saturation of the color, right? The color could be too saturated. And looking at my target color, I could do one of two things. I could lower it with some raw umber. That could kill the saturation. I can just put one drop of this raw umber in there, and that will kind of kill it. But I'm afraid it'll turn it green. So I'm going to actually get some raw sienna or even detail yellow ochre would be fine. That could shift it in the direction I want. Let's see. Just going to put a drop in here. Now, this stuff out of the bottle doesn't have 4011, so it's going to be much more powerful than my premix colors. So I'm going to put a little bit in here, and it is getting me in the direction I want to go. However, it's still a little strong, so I'm going to add something here. Let's see what this does. And this is getting closer, but now it's too yellow, so we're going to add a little bit of red to it, right? A little bit of red to bring it back. It might be too much red, but we'll see. Okay, it's getting in the right direction. So I need it to be lighter. So when you add white to a color, what you're doing essentially is you're killing the saturation. So just know that you know, if you do add white, it may kind of change the saturation a little bit. So just be wary of that. You might have to come back and up that saturation, which means color out of the tube. Very close, a little more of the light color. That I like. And maybe just 1 or 2 more drops of red and we should be there. So I put 2 drops of red in here, and let's see what. Very close. It's just a little dark, but the thing is, we don't know what it's going to look like when we spray it, right? So, and since I put other colors out of the bottle, I'm just going to put a couple more drops of this 4011 in here. And there we go. So it's pretty close, a little darker than my target color, but you know what? It might work out. So let's see. So in here I have this red iron oxide. I'm just going to empty it. And the color's not too far away, so I'm just going to put some water in it, right? That would be all I need. Just a little bit of water, spray that out, rinse out the cup. You know, red iron oxide and this yellow, they have similar qualities, so it's not going to really hurt my mix. And it would be negligible amount since I, you know, flushed it. And that's all you really have to do. So this may be a little rough, but there's only one way to find out, right? As Mr. Leahy says, what could go wrong? That's what they say. So it's a nice quiet live stream, which is good, you know. So I like the quiet live streams as well. And it enables us to get further with this painting during the week. Now so Drew Blair has this method where if you're going to be airbrushing, you know, in a couple of hours or next day, rather than clean out your airbrush, just put some water in it and just leave it overnight kind of parked. And it really makes a big difference. I mean, I'm not having any issues, so I didn't have to clean it. I think when we clean the airbrush, and this is Drew Blair's theory, when you clean out the airbrush, you dry it out, and there's more chance of little pigments kind of backfiring on us. So that's something to, you know, it's a really good philosophy. So now I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to hit some of those kind of golden yellow areas in her face. And so where it is like more bone, like it's more bony, you're going to be more on the yellow side. Where it is you know, more fleshy, like in the cheeks, you're going to have more of a red side, a pinky side. So this is great. This color actually is perfect. It's strong enough to make its mark, which is important. You don't want it to be too wispy where you have to put too many layers. So this is really giving a hue shift from the reds and oranges to the yellow, which is really nice. And so you definitely want to see where those hue shifts are. So this is a bony area, so it's going to be more yellow there, which is really important to consider. And let's see. This right here could have a shot of yellow, this side of her forehead. Right there, over here. Over here, I'm going to put yellow. Then I'm going to come back in with straight raw umber. And that will give it a gray, but it will give it more of a gray with some color in it. More on the greenish, greenish side, which I like. Where the cartilage doesn't have much, much fat, like right over here in the alar cartilage, so it's going to be on the yellow side. Same thing over here. Side of the chin here. We're going to hit it with some yellow. Which, hey, Michael McClung, how's it going? Great to see you, my friend. How's everything all the way from the Maryland area? So we're getting some good techniques here today, Mike. I'm so glad you're here. Some things that, you know, working on different hues, you know, hitting the yellows where it's more bony, hitting the reds where it's more fleshy. Those are things that really work. Yeah, yes, just over 12 hours, right, Michael? Always great to see you, sir. And we're going to zoom out just a tad here. It's a little too zoomed. And so with this split cam program, which is free, it allows me to zoom even though my camera is not a zoom. How cool is that? I'm going to hit some yellow here. So of course yellow on top of a red is going to make an orange color, right? So those are things that you can, that's a great thing about Airbrush. It has some properties of oil paints, you know, like glazing. And it's a little better than watercolor because it's not waterproof. I mean, it's waterproof. So you can put one color on another without that color activating and mixing with the colors above it, which is really great. Here's a nice pink color, and I'm going to come in there, so I don't want to contaminate that. I'm just watching that. Here, remember here, we did yesterday, which was the light part of the depressor anguli oris. And let's see if we could adjust this. There we go. And it's a little on the red side. We're going to dust that with a yellow side so it looks more like it should. Here, what's interesting, as this comes down, I have a dark there, but the light actually comes down here. So I am probably going to mix my orange and white mixture, and I'm going to kind of connect this light coming down from the maxilla into the orbicularis oris here, right? So those are things that we definitely need to pay attention to. It's so important. You know what? I have the white and orange mixture in my airbrush from yesterday. I put some water in it to park it, but I'm not going to dare use it. No way, Jose. I'm not going down that road. I'm not tempting fate, not tempting fate. And we're going to put some water in here and kind of rinse out. This is my Extreme Patriot 105. So once again, thank you for everyone attending my bonus live stream last night. I had a super chat goal. If I had 5 super chats, then I would do a bonus live stream for everyone. And the great thing is, I know it's 12 o'clock, but it is recorded and everyone could watch it on rewind, right? And so that's good, and it stays up there. So this became part 8. So puts us a week ahead of schedule with this. And some may say, well, Tim, why are you taking so long to finish the live stream, finish this painting? Because I'm not doing any of the painting off camera. So if you're following the live stream, you're going to see my process from the very beginning to the very end. And it's free and it's invaluable. If you're learning airbrush, just to see how I mix the paints, use the cups, those are things that are really going to help you. And that's what I'm here for, to help you and make your airbrush journey just that much more fun, right? That's what I want for you guys. So I'm going to do something a little different. Instead of using oh, great. And Michael's looking forward to using my ink this weekend. That's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. I know you're going to do great. Remember, detail mixture, diluted 1:1 when you're going in with the value. But before that, you mix your illustration 50-50 white, 1:1 with water, and just enjoy it. And, go ahead. Remember, with the white, it's really going to look, it's pretty funny. With the white, it's going to look like you're doing nothing at first, but do one light layer at a time. Very light, 6-7 inches away, right? And when you do that, you're going to, let it dry, lift it up, and see what you did. Being 6 or 7 inches away, you're going to have a nice, smooth, less blotchy kind of thing happening. So I mixed my opaque white here, and this is Detail Flat Opaque White by Createx, my favorite airbrush paint company in the world. Yes, definitely without the orange, right? That's so important. And just a quick question: are you working on the tinted paper? Because that's a big consideration. If you're working on white, then there's no reason for the white, of course. What paper will you be working on, Michael? So I'm going to take my orange, which is right here, and you can see how much I use it. I use a lot of orange. It's really an important color with the Gideon color method. So I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I remember in the old days, I used to use Pyro Red to get this kind of really cool mixture. Now this is going to do great because I'm going to be able to lighten colors and assimilate colors and stuff like that. So yeah, so the light mixture will actually, if things look broken up, you can actually kind of blend with that. A lot like in the old days when I used to paint with colored pencils. So I'm just going to put a couple of drops. There it is. I don't really save paint, unless I make a big batch like one of these. I should make an orange mixture. So this is detail. I'm trying lately to use a lot more Wicked because of see, with Wicked paint, right, Michael? You can paint on anything: wood, metal, cars, murals. So I'm trying to do that. Oh, the paper you're using, I do not know the name, but it has an Autobahn sealer on it. Oh, great. Fantastic. So, yeah, so you're going to need that white. So, very good. All right, sir. So now let's just see what this is going to do. Okay, so it is working. Now, it's really subtle. You're going to be like, Tim, what are you doing? I don't see it. That's okay, because it's so subtle. Oh, you see that? So I'm bringing up that retroapicularis, the depressor anguli oris. See how that comes down? That's a particular muscle in the corner of the mouth. So on this side, it's slightly lighter because the light's coming from the right, And here it's a shadow because the light's not hitting it because of what's on the left. So see how that works. So I really like this. So basically, write this down. So I would say 20 drops of the detail flat opaque white and 3 drops of the illustration orange, not the illustration orange, but the wicked detail orange. Those two, 3 drops to 20 drops of this. And then what's really cool, you're going to reduce this, the white, 1-to-1 before you mix the orange in with 40-11. Or 40-21 now is definitely all the rage, right? See, as I realize that I have to bring in this this maxilla going down to the orbicularis. Now you have a slight blue shift, but that's okay. We're going to come back in with our yellow, right, that we made, which is this kind of dirty raw sienna kind of color. It actually turned into yellow ochre, didn't it? And Mr. Tone, how you doing from Queens? Oh, you're in Brooklyn now. How's everything going? I'm loving the self-portrait. That's just kick butt, man. That is really nice. So now I'm going to dust over this with the yellow that I mixed. See how that cleans that up? And now, you know, it also assimilates the colors around it. So right here, on this side of the orbicularis oris, the camera left side, it's a little powerful, right? A little too powerful for me. And I'm just going to kind of assimilate it. See how I kind of killed that a little bit with the white mixture? And kind of soften that up. So the white mixture will do a lot of softening with a lot of your colors, and will make it look more like an oil painting, right? It'll have more of that really soft subtlety. So that's working out. Then I'm going to glaze over with a really nice orangey. Oh, the back pain. I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, you take it easy. Your health is much more important, sir. So I want you to feel okay. Do you have a gym membership? Maybe hanging out in the hot tub might be good. What do you think? That could really help, right? Definitely. I'm just going to take a swig of my tea here. Having some black tea with lemon. So trying to do the healthy route in the beginning of the day. So it really works. So you can come in and kind of lighten the color, and you're going to get a little bit of a blue shift depending on how much orange you put in, or it might be an orange shift. So you can just come over with a desired color, glaze over that, and you'll be really good. So that's really good. Here it might be a little bit on the powerful yellow side. So I'm going to be about 4 inches away. And I'm just going to assimilate this here. And I may not like it, I may like it, but I can always go over it again. And we'll zoom out here. And so like right here, it may be a little powerful, this dark here. So I'm just going to dust over it and just kind of chill it out, right? And that's going to help it. Because if things are, so here's the thing, if it's too transparent, it's going to look like a dye and it's not going to look like skin, right? It's going to have a different look to it. Adding a little bit of this orange white mixture kind of blends everything in. Ah, thanks, Tone. Tone says nice eye color. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm having fun working on that, definitely. Okay, so I have this white mixture. And I did that with more paintbrush techniques, which I'm going to come in today as well and work on that with you all. So here is the malar fat compartment over here. We're just going to bring that down. It's like a chicken cutlet that's underneath the eye, underneath the lower eyelid, right below the tear duct, the tear bag area. And it's sort of like a chicken cutlet. And so remember, everything on the face is a three-dimensional form. So we want to really try and keep those three-dimensional qualities of the painting going. I'm going to soften this area right here where her cheekbone is. It might be a little harsh, so I'm just going to soften that up with the orange and white mixture. Addressing little things like that could really help the painting along, soften her up, which is great. Now I can come back with this orangey yellow color, Naples yellow, right? And kind of bring this over. So right there I went a little overboard, but you can see how wet, when it's wet, it's like really powerful. You gotta let it dry. So it's a nice golden color here. So I like that. It's a lot more bony over here by the zygomatic bone or the cheekbone, depending on how you name it, right? Over here we have some nice yellow tones. In her skin are some really nice yellow tones, so we're going to glaze this yellow color on her skin. The skin might be too red, so by glazing a nice yellow will really help it along. I'm going to see if I have something to cover her beautiful face. I lose the stencils, right? By this time, I already lost a lot of the important stencils. But I might have it here. Let's see. I usually have an envelope for the smaller stencils, and sometimes I do good. But I have a lot of these little tiny ones, and I don't think that is. So looks like I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. But it might be here. I just can't see it because it's invisible. They're see-through. They're made with the 4mm Mylar. Okay, so that's not going to happen, so no worries. And let me zoom out a little bit. We're going to work on her body. And I'm going to utilize a freehand shield, crawl along the surface to protect her face from this kind of raw sienna color. At this stage of, maybe being 50% done, putting in right now 14 hours into this painting at least. So with that many hours, but that many hours to go, you're just going to take your time and kind of let it happen. Don't really worry about when it's going to finish or anything like that. Just continue with the process of refining her, making things three-dimensional. Those are so important. You have to make things three-dimensional. So I'm just going to hit this with some yellow to create some variation in her body. And kind of separate. She's a little more tan or ruddy collection in her ruddy complexion, as opposed to her face is more of a pinkish hue, right? So now we have that, and we're going to test with this orange mixture, because the orange mixture will assimilate things and kind of help you kind of blend things. Think of it like pastel, right? If this was pastel, you would probably blend this in. So we're going to try it with this orange and white mixture. I'm going to start from about 4 inches away because I don't want blotchiness, right? That's just going to make me do something that I have to fix, right? So we don't want to do something we have to fix. So for those who don't know, I offer a mentorship program, and that's a description. It's in the description. There's a link to my website where you can get information and, you know, ask questions or possibly even join. So we would do one-on-one like this, 2 hours a week, every week. And there's a group class every Friday night going over things such as anatomy, you know, how to transfer paintings, you know, techniques that I've been using for many years. And it's really great. Goes at your pace, you know, goes around your work schedule or family, things you have to take care of. So it really is great. So what I'm doing with this orange and white mixture is that I'm softening things up to come in and do more contrast again. So I'll do this over and over again until I get an assimilated skin texture that is, you know, really what I'm looking for. Am I running out of mixture? Oh, nope, I still have some in there. Raise that air pressure a little bit at the pack valve. Just working on that sternocleidomastoid a little bit. And here I'm going to hit the clavicle. It's a little harsh, but we can soften it up. But I like it because it's making her look like a real person with real anatomy. And don't worry about going over into the hair, because hair is a dark color. You can always go over it, so never worry about that. In this shadow in here, there's some information in there, so I'm going to use that white mixture just to put a little bit of information in that shadow, right? You don't want chasms, you know, you want to have information in the shadows. So since I'm here, I'm going to see what this color does with the hair. Does it make it too blue? Well, there are blue highlights in hair anyway. So let's see if I have a stencil for this where I can just protect the background, because the background's super light, right? So let's see. Here we go. I think this is, nope, yeah, this would work. So we're going to put this on here. And these are, I cut in with my line drawing to match my line drawing. And so this way it fits. I wouldn't say perfectly, but really close to perfectly. I'm not perfect. Far from it. And so, you know, every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And that goes for a painting, you know. It definitely helps to be prepared like this for when I work in the hair. Now I want to give some volume to the hair, right? So I have my orange and white mixture. I just wanted to see how it would work, but I kind of like it. I think it's good. So now I'm just going to block in. I'm not going to worry about individual hairs. I'm just going to block in the, you look at the hair as a helmet first. Then you look at it as, so you look at it as a helmet. Then you look at it as, you know, large strands of hair. And then you go into individual strands of hair. So see how now she's getting more volume. She's looking prettier. The helmet is going away. Here comes the, oh, okay, so that's what it is. So you start with the helmet, then the wig, then her regular hair. That's how I paint it. Whoop. Making a weird noise over here. Don't worry about going into the dark of the hair. Like I said, that dark will always cover everything, so you don't have to, it's the light areas you have to worry about. But now I'm sculpting the wig, right? That's what I'm doing now. I'm going to come in with some paintbrush techniques with the hair. It's going to look really cool. But you see how I'm getting the way that the light is hitting her hair. Very, very important, you know, very important consideration. There's some light hairs right here. See how I'm getting that shape there? So important. And then over here, this little curly Q. Just sculpting. That's all I'm doing. And that's what I mean about, you know, when you're working, you're kind of refining as you go. And you have to stay focused. You know, don't move around too much. I do that sometimes. So I have to stay focused. But since I had this orange and white in my airbrush, I was like, hey, why not? And that's it, you know, she comes into focus little by little as time goes on, you know. Hey Juan, ¿cómo estás, señor? Muy contento a verte, amigo mío. So I'm so glad to see you, Juan, all the way from England. I love the still life you did. Just amazing, really fantastic work. So I really love it. And I see you don't use any medium. I've been using walnut oil lately. With my oil paints, Juan. So it's cool having this afternoon live stream because I get to see people who are usually sleeping during my 9:30 p.m. live stream because it's really, really late on over in England. See how she's just these little things are making a big difference. I'm not going to go too crazy, but like I said, I just want to make a slight difference. And then I'll glaze over this, maybe, you know, with a red iron oxide, you know, that chestnut color. Oh, straight oil paints, and yes, good timing, ready to cook for the family. Lentils, right, sir? I remember. So, so cool. So that's where we are now, and that's not bad. And let's see. I am going to come back with this Naples. No, this is more like a raw sienna kind of color, or even a yellow ochre. And we'll kind of glaze over the white. So you see how we can use this as sort of a glazing method, which is an oil painting method that I use. So so you use the white, the orange and white mixture to light things up, and then you could go ahead and glaze a darker color over it. So you need that lighter color underneath for the glaze to work. So I'm covering her beautiful face and kind of getting that kind of ruddy complexion. Now I can definitely see I can darken over here, but it takes time. You know, you don't want to darken things up too soon. Remember, too dark too early, too bad, right? So you don't want to be too bad, so you want to just slowly build on these values. And while you're doing that, you're getting the correct saturation and you're getting the correct hue. So get the correct hue and saturation, and then you can slowly darken those values. Get a little more of a golden hue over here. She's supposed to be heavenly, so we have to make her a little heavenly. Here is interesting. There's a little wetness there. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm going to try and fix it with this white mixture. See that? Now I got rid of it. It's a little tiny little droplet or something. Not sure exactly. And let's see if we can lighten some areas with this orange and white mixture a little bit. We want to make this trapezius turn into the space between the trapezius and the sternocleidomastoid. See how I'm making it turn softer, making it more round. The more round something is, the more that you have to make that turn slowly. So it's not exactly round, but it's rounded of this head of the trapezius, so that's important. Oh, Juan says her eyes look gorgeous. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm having fun with her eyes, definitely. I think that's what drew me to this image, that heavenly quality she has. So her clavicle was a little too overzealous with that, so I'm just chilling out with the clavicle, right? You know, just take it down a notch, I tell myself. So you see how this white and orange mixture is really good, because I'm getting that kind of oil painting pastel feel that I love with my work in other mediums. So whenever you work in different mediums and you come into a new medium like me coming into airbrush, you bring a certain skill set and a certain aesthetic criteria, which really makes a big difference when you are, you know, kind of exploring it and you find your individuality there. Okay, really, really liking that. So now it's time to go a little darker. Oh, Mr. Michael says he has to get back to work. I was watching, and oh, you enjoyed watching the painting? Thank you, sir. I enjoyed seeing you today. And definitely it's going to stay up here on the channel, so that is great. Michael, thanks for hanging out. It's always a pleasure, and I hope the rest of your workday goes by really quick so you can go home and relax and take it easy. You deserve it. So we finished our first hour of the live stream. I'm going to try and do 2 hours because that's just what I want to give you all. So what I'm going to do is, if I get 5 during the Wednesday night live stream, if I get 5 super chats, I'll automatically do a Thursday live stream. So, and maybe next week you all can pick a time. So that would be great. So if you want more free content, all you guys got to do is hit me with 5 super chats on Wednesday night. So it's a new thing with YouTube. You can actually have what is called super chat goals, which is great. Ah, thank you, Juan. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much. So now we got to go darker. So I'm going to go with my Gideon paint method, and I'm going to do that off screen because it's not available yet. I will be making that available soon. I'm not sure, but I know I got to get on the ball. So we need some darker values. Can I do it with just hitting it with the raw umber? Yes, but do I want to do it that way? No. So I have the raw umber. I'm going to see what my mixture will be, right? So we're just going to go not too dark, and I'm just going to hit this and see what everything. Move this out of the way. Okay. Okay, so I know what color I have now. I'm going to look for the hue, and then a percentage of the mixture. Okay, so that's a pretty simple solution here. So let me go ahead and mix this, and I can actually see exactly what I have to do to get the right color. And we're mixing with Wicked colors. I have them pre-mixed. Every color under the sun is be able to mix with the color wheel, right? You know, a lot of people don't use the color wheel, but that's where the secret of mixing is, right? It really is. So remember, but even though percentages might be as such, you have to be careful because not all colors are equal, right? Some colors are much stronger and they're much more powerful, so it doesn't play by the same rules. Let's see. We have some of this Wicked color here, which I love. Okay, let's take a look. And it's interesting because my color picking method gave a very simple solution, which is really cool, right? I like simple. But, you know, like I said, the program will tell you the percentage, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be 100% correct because some colors tint stronger than others. So you have to, you know, find your own percentage of, you'll start to know your colors, you know, what colors have strong tinting strength, what colors have weaker tinting strength, that sort of thing. So I'm going to have to mix some more of my detail orange, that's for sure. And so I want to kind of chill it out a little bit, so I'm going to add this Wicked red iron oxide in there. Whoop, I have some already mixed. So you're going to find your own flavor, right? That's the thing. You're going to find your own flavor. So I like that. See how that color is? So that's so much richer than Mr. JC all the way from the Atlanta area. How are you, my friend? How's life treating you? That is so cool. So you can see the two colors. This one is, you know, what the system told me, and this is my little flavor. So I like a little more saturation in my shadows. So those are, you know, really cool. How's life treating you, man? So glad to see you. So in here, I had my yellow ochre color, so we're just going to get rid of that. But it's serving us well, you know, this color method. So, you know, you ever get a color and you just like, you have a color you have to do, and you're like, oh my God, where do I start? This Gideon color theory mixing method will get you in the right DNA, right? You'll get exactly the ingredients that you need, right? And then you can go from there and adjust it, but you're not going on a wild goose chase adding all these crazy colors and having it too purple and when it should be on the yellow side, all those things, you know. So now we're going to take this color. This is going to be our dark. And this is in the Customized Extreme Patriot Arrow. If you're interested in getting one of these airbrushes, they are hand created by me. They're tested for 3 hours. If they're not doing exactly what my airbrushes are doing out of the box when you get them, I don't send them out. So that's important. So, you know, guarantee that it's going to be one of your favorite airbrushes. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to get my reference and I'm going to start hitting the darks. And let's see, I'm going to start right here in the where the shadow of the sternocleidomastoid. Oh yeah, that's riching. See how it has color in the shadow? It's so very important. Now this fossa, the triangular fossa over here, yes, see how that's doing exactly what I wanted to do. It still would do the same thing. So it would do the same thing if I use straight raw umber, but it won't have the luminous qualities that I'm looking for, especially painting a beautiful angel, right? She has to have a glow about her. So very, very crucial. And we're just going to fade that up there. And here I can actually bring in this beautiful shadow color. Because it's too black right now, so we need to get some life in there, right? Take care, Tone. Always a pleasure. I really hope and pray that your back feels better. Take it easy and you just heal up. You know, that's most important, sir. I'm really loving that portrait you're doing. I'm going to start doing right here, where the deltoid starts to make an appearance. I'm about maybe 3 inches away, right? It has a slight hard edge here. So if you want a hard edge, but you don't want it to be like super hard, just put your finger underneath the stencil and raise it up a little bit. And you get a little bit of a hard edge, but not super hard, right? That's a good, that's a really good technique. I learned that from a really great artist called David, let me see, his last name escapes me for a moment. David Morton, really great artist, great airbrush teacher. See how I'm starting to create some nice depth in the shadows here. And like I said, it's going to have kind of a transparency feeling because that's part of what airbrush does, but I can go over this with the orange and white mixture later and then knock it down and then bring it back up. So it's sort of this back and forth. So the supraorbital eminence, you know, it's not just a forehead. There's a lot going on. There's a bulge on top of the eye sockets. So you see I'm paying attention to that. You have to pay attention to anatomy if you're painting portraits or even just a skull. There's no way out of it. It's not that hard. It's a really great ROI, return on your investment, if you just study anatomy a little bit. You don't have to, you know, get a degree from medical school, but it really will pay dividends to know the difference between the zygomatic, the maxilla, the frontal bone, the occipital, the temporal, the perinatal. You need to know that, the mandible, just on the bone structure alone. That's so crucial, and it's so simple. It's like 5 bones. Just know where the bone inserts and where it connects, right? I think that's how it's, or just where it connects on both sides, basically. So I have this kind of dark flesh color, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to glaze it over the hair. Juan says, Tim, you customized the Patriot, Extreme Patriot Arrow airbrushing is amazing. I purchased yours 3 or 4 years ago and still works perfectly. Thank you, my friend. That is great testimony. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. It's like a workhorse, right? It does everything. No need to keep switching airbrushes for different things. It literally is great for large areas, right? And also for the small areas. I don't use anything else now. So you see how we had that kind of cold, kind of blue shift thing happening with the hair? And that was easily fixed with just glazing over, right? Just doing a light glaze over the hair because it's like a chestnut brown. And it sort of looks like, I planned it all out. And so over here on the side, it has a little bit of a blue shift thing happening. And just a little bit of a glaze just brings it right to where we want it. So that's good. A lot of good techniques, every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought. I mentioned that earlier. Same with airbrushing. Be tentative sometimes, don't go in, because airbrushing does play for keeps. You make a mistake with airbrushing and it's just going to ruin your day. So be slow, really calculate everything, work slowly from light to dark, and you're going to be okay. Don't be a cowboy, right? We just have to slowly build things up. And the great thing about airbrush and acrylics, it dries so fast, Wipe off your freehand shield. Important consideration, because you don't want to repurpose paint where you don't want it to be. Also, from David Morton, he has videos out on YouTube which are just fantastic. Just extremely fantastic stuff. I'm going to glaze this color on her lips because the lips has flesh color in it, both the light and dark color. So that's a good consideration as well. And I kind of like this color, and I'm going to incorporate some of it into her eyes. Let's see. Because her eyes, although the color is on the money, it's a little harsh, right? So I want to get rid of some of the harshness. See how I can kind of add that amber quality, the specular quality to her eyes. And in turn, I can kind of start softening things. So I did a lot of paintbrush techniques with her eyes as well. So we're kind of working that out. And I'll come back in and hit that highlight again, no worries. Oh, so here we can work out the dark crease of the upper eyelid, right? And it's not dark all the way. So you see how it's dark here, and then it's thin, and then it gets a little bit darker there. So pay attention to those little things. Oh, thank you, my friend, Mr. Juan. Juan says the eyes look good, so I appreciate that. So it's a little darker right here. Always test your spray on the scrap piece of paper. There we go. So just working that out, and let's see. Alright, so there's not really too many darks in her eye, right? I'll come in with the, I'll come in later, uh, you know, with the eyelashes, but I want to keep them simplified. So now I can work on the crease between the eyelid and the retroorbicularis oval like that. And it's nice deep dark as it goes into the corner of her eye socket there. And it has a little bit of a transparent quality, so we may have to dust it with the orange and white mixture to assimilate it with the rest of the tonal tapestry going on here. And we'll zoom out here. Whoop, there we go. And we'll zoom in. And we have the side plane here of the upper lateral cartilage. We're going to hit that. And this is a nasalis bone, muscle that goes around the bridge of the nose. And you have the nasal bones underneath. Then in between that is the upper lateral cartilage. The upper lateral cartilage, you have the ball of the nose, which is the alar cartilage, which is in the shape of a wing. And I believe alar is Latin for wing. So anatomy is not hard. Once you study it, it's probably, you know, one of the most logical things that you can study. The names usually have to do with the shape or what it does, where it is, so it's really pretty wild. So when we lightened it up earlier, we had a little bit of a blue shift, but this kind of really dark amber color really is taking care of anything that was out of balance with that blue shift. So even when you add the white, orange with the white, you're going to have some blue shift. It's not going to be perfect. So you're not going to sit there and keep going until you get it perfectly. You're going to live with it and you're going to adjust with it. At least that's what I teach. So I want to get this alar cartilage here. She's so cute. I don't want to make her less cute. I don't want to make her more cute because I don't think I can. So see how I brought that nose further by darkening that? Wipe off that freehand shield. There we go. Just bringing that forward a little bit, which is good. So it kind of brings her nose forward and, you know, the orbicularis oris further back, the philtrum, all that fun stuff. So there are some areas where I may have gone a little overboard, and that's okay. That's what the white mixture is for, kind of bringing things back, bringing them, you know, into the fold, so to speak. And oh man, I dropped my really beautiful dark. Oh, I love that color. Is that, yeah, so gonna have to mix more. But let me just clean up this. Oh, my studio is, as always, becomes quite a paint. They're like a work of art, like a Jackson Pollock. But as long as it doesn't go into work, we're good. So now I'm spreading this amber color. That's not good. Let me get a handy wipe. You know, baby wipes are fantastic. They do really great things. So let me just see if this lives up to the hype. It really does. It got rid of the stain. So it's great for hands. It's great for cleaning palettes and oil paint, and when you're working in pastels. So it's just super fantastic. Actually got it on my sublimation printer. Fringe benefit of being an artist. I hope the cat is not nearby. They will be feeding. Yes, exactly. Oh my God. Oh, so Juan says, see, Ayla means wing in Spanish. Oh, thank you, sir. That's so cool. That's great information. Juan, of course, is bilingually, speaks both Spanish and English perfectly. So that's a great resource. Thank you, sir. Yeah, she's sleeping during the day, my cat. So that's a good thing. It's funny, she pretty much stays away from my paint area. She's like, I don't want to deal with that, you know? So that was a really good mixture to kind of work out these darks here. So I like what I did with the nose, and let's see if we can soften. So I'm going to try and just start the softening process of the hair. So this is good to see. You know, just begin that softening process of the hair, which is important. Juan says maybe she tried paints before, and that's why she's away from the studio. Very true. My dog Louie, who passed away years ago, I used to have all my airbrush paints on my counter, and whenever I would not come home from work, like I'd have a date or something, and I'd come home late, he would get mad and knock all the paint bottles over. And he would do that. It's like, yeah, you want to stay out? You know, I got you. And he would mess me up. So he would do that. I'm going to use this dark color, and I'm going to glaze it for the dark of the lips here. We'll see how this works. Yeah, Louis was a great dog. I miss him every day. So you also want to see, like when you're looking at dark and light, this side of the chin right here, the dark is inside the face, but as you go further towards the sternocleidomastoid, the dark's on the not on the face side, but on the sternocleidomastoid side. So see where those darks are, you know, because it's very important, you know, to find that. I'm going to hit this. Make sure you wipe off that freehand shield. That's a really important consideration. See how I'm darkening it there, and then when I'm coming here, the light on this going towards the end of the mandible, just before the chin, the dark is going to be on the inside of the face. See how that really makes a big difference. It's just paying attention, that's all, you know. It's just paying attention to what's happening on your model. Definitely. So you can see how, you know, by knowing where the dark is, this here, it's the dark is on the face, and this over here, the dark is on the neck or the sternocleidomastoid. Little things that are going to mean a lot. this area is a little light, so I'm just going to dust it with this color just to kind of bring it in line with what's going on with the light and shadow of the larger shape of her head, right? And we got to pay attention to the glabella, right? If we don't have a glabella, we're going to look like a parrot. So there's an indentation just as the frontal bone, just before the frontal bone attaches to the nasal bones. There's an indentation going in, and you can see it really clearly when you're working in, you see it really clearly when you're doing a profile. So I'm making sure I'm paying attention to the glabella. Juan says, she has a fresh face. The painting is amazing, amigo mio. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm looking for that, and I really appreciate it. I'm looking for that angelic, peaceful look, you know, and, you know, trying to put my own spin, you know, not just copying from the model, but using the model as a reference or an inspiration. And that's what I've been doing more of, looking for a model to inspire me as opposed to do a portrait. When we have portrait commissions, we go down that road, right, Juan? And so I remember the portrait commission you did of Harley, right? Was that Harley, if I remember correctly? I'm just going to glaze this color because this is pretty much, almost every airbrush color is going to be transparent because you're further away, you know, there's going to be spaces of the droplet and you're going to be able to see through it. So in all intents and purposes, everything is, oh yeah, so it was Harley, that's right. I have a pretty good memory sometimes, sir. I love that painting, actually. That was great. I really enjoyed that painting. See how I brought that sternocleidomastoid, but I needed the freehand shield because I don't want it to stop. It's not looking natural that way. So, you know, you have to pull out all the stops to get things to look right. So we have our orange and white mixture. You know, there's some like imperfections here and there, and that's what this is all about. So in the cup, it's probably going to want to separate, so you're just going to give it a little shake like that, you know. Even though it's only been sitting there for like 45 minutes, it wants to separate. It just does not want to stay, you know. It just, so we have to be on top of it. Okay. Going to raise the air pressure. And get rid of any kind of, so we're probably going to have to put more in here, so I'm just going to blow this out. Make sure that there's no clogs. Detail, you know, wicked detail, you're going to have to be a little more, you know, just a little more vigilant. I'm going to give this a good cleaning afterwards. I haven't given it a good cleaning in like over a month and a half. So, and it hasn't given me any problems. But, you know, once in a while you just want to get into the well and really clean that out, you know. So I'm going to come in with this orange and white mixture. And let me just clean the sides of this cup. You know, having my Extreme Patriot arrows, it has a 0.30 cone that is self-centering. It's not screwed in. And you have a lot less clogs when the paint is wet, right? So by keeping the paint wet, by parking it with water in it, you're always going to have less clogs. So you see I'm going to mix this white mixture here just to kind of soften up that really nice dark that I had there. And we're going to build up those darks, right? We're going to build them up slowly. That's important. You know, there's no rush, right? Build up your darks. I see a lot of students A lot of people who are, beginning airbrush, they go right in with black. It's like, whoa, there's no reason for that. That should happen in hour 8 or hour 9 in this painting. So this is part 7 or part 8. And so you're looking at 14 to 16 hours, and I'm just starting to come in with the darks. So, and I have some experience. Quietly, I like to think so. And I'm just going to see how I softened that up, right? Just soften it up, create that kind of airbrush. Part 8, yes, this is like part 8. Oh my goodness. So that's 16 hours right now into this. And if I'm just hitting it with the black, you shouldn't be hitting it with that dark value for a very, very long time. So if you find yourself doing that, remember me and say, Tim says it's too early. Too dark, too early, too soon, too bad. That's one of my Timisms. And that started with my India ink paintings, right? But it applies to everything. There's no difference. Value is value. So you still have to build up the values whether you're working in color or working in black and white. There's absolutely no difference in that. But you see how I go back and, it gets a little kind of inky, transparency. So, and also gets separated. So the white mixture will soften it up and kind of assimilate everything. So it looks more like a pastel. It looks more like an oil painting. It isn't separated. I think a really good airbrush painting is to make it look like it wasn't done with airbrush, in the sense that you have those trappings of, having that overly transparent feel, or overly broken up, right? Or even some blue shift. So keep working back and forth. Hey Dan, how's it going? All the way from Indianapolis. How's life treating you? I'm so glad you're here. So that is cool. Dan was here last night, and the reason that we have this live stream is I had this new thing called Super Chat Goals. And you can do that on your live streams. And my Super Chat goal was, if I get 5 Super Chats, I'm going to give a bonus live stream today at 12 Eastern Time. And that's how that happened. And I'm going to try and do that every week. So that's a lot of fun. And the great thing is, even if you can't make it at 12 o'clock, it's going to be in record. And that's going to help a lot. So in here, again, we have that kind of overly kind of transparent look. So if I go over this maybe 6 inches with my orange and white mixture, I can soften things up really quite nicely. Ah, thank you, sir. I appreciate that one. Yeah, let it be up to you guys and girls to decide whether or not you want a bonus live stream, right? And when the people speak, during election time, it's sort of like that too. So I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try and soften the hairline with white. It may not work, but that's why we experiment, right? So let's zoom in here. So we have a super hard edge. She kind of looks, remember we go with the helmet, then the wig, then the hair. So now we have to fix the helmet. I mean the wig, to make it look like hair. So see, I'm kind of softening up that edge, and then I'll glaze over that, right? Remember everyone, a glaze is over a lighter color. So for me to create a glaze, I have to lighten it up. And then, so now the trick is, when we are spraying, if we're moving fast, we're not going to have disasters. Because if we're moving, the worst that could happen is you'll have something that's not as gradated. But if I stay in that area and like push it, then I'm going to get really bad, uh, really horrible, horrible uh, barbells and spidering. So I'm just hitting and moving and kind of softening that up. It looks terrible now, but I definitely softened up that edge there. And then now I can kind of bring in the part of her hair. And again, it's going to start with a blue shift, but we're going to glaze over that. Oh, thanks. Yes, definitely. It's definitely subtle and everything, Juan, and I appreciate that definitely. And you know, the trick is if you're moving, it's not going to be harsh. As long as I'm moving before I spray, even if my airbrush is not spraying perfectly, I'm still going to get that nice smooth gradations and not going to get barbells or anything like that. So right now, that blue shift is actually kind of helping us. And we don't want this to go all the way up here because that means that her cranial mass is going to be up here. So the cranial mass will probably stop right about here. So, I mean the scalp, and then you can see the hair will cover the cranial mass. So you always want to think of the logistics of her, you know. If I want my models, when I finish painting them, to walk off of the the painting, be able to walk off that painting and not be a monster, right? And that's the goal. So always consider that. You know, with my painting, would she be able to walk? Would she be able to talk? Would she be able to breathe with the way that I painted her? And I'm going to lighten this area here. I love the Wicked paint because the Wicked paint has a much more fine art feel to it. Uh, that's not any kind of scientific finding or anything. That's just my own opinion. You know, I work with a lot of fine art materials in my life, and this just feels right. It just feels right. The way that it mixes with the 4011, the way that you can build up value, the way that you can use the orange mixture. I find the illustration paints are really good, but they just don't do exactly what I want them to do. What about you all? Have you worked with Wicked as opposed to working with the illustration line? I tried both extensively over the last year, and my conclusion is definitely Wicked. Not only for the reason of how it applies, but also that I can paint on anything, which is really great. You know, I like that aspect a lot. I'm just extending the mentalis here, just making it a little more round. That's another thing to consider. So here again we have that little bit of, it's a little hot, so in temperature. So I'm just going to spray this light mixture from about 8 inches away, right? See how that cools that down, doesn't make it as hot, and that really helps out, you know? So, okay, so let's remove this hair stencil here, and we see what we have. And we have, so another thing is I don't like erasing, you know? Erasing is like a last final resort. I'd rather paint it than erase it. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. And that's, yeah, she's coming together, right? You know, little by little. I'm not trying to be a cowboy, right? Not going totally like gangbusters in there. So what I want to do is I'm going to, I just love this color I mixed. Well, I didn't mix it, the Gideon color method did. So I want to save it. I'm going to incorporate raw umber. Raw umber is a great color. I use it a lot in oil paints. How about you? Have you tried raw umber, Juan? And so Juan says he hasn't tried wicked paints yet, but in my painting it looks very smooth. For me, illustration sometimes looks splashy. It does have a different quality to it, right? And this just looks more organic, I feel. I agree with you 100%, sir. That's for sure. So I am going to leave that in the airbrush, right? But you definitely don't ever want to take your wicked paints and put it into your paintbrush. This stuff is pretty thick and it'll gum up the works really fast. So I'm going to take a separate cup, and I do love, by the way, this raw umber. You know what's really good? I spilled more paint. What a surprise, guys. Let's see. Just move this over. Oh my God. It's pandemonium. I spilled more paint. Oh my God. And this one is on my Huion tablet. This is like a 4-alarm fire, guys. Let's see. Let me save the Huion tablet. That's the first thing. I had this tablet forever, since 2018. I had this tablet, and I love it. I've done all my digital works, all my line drawings. It's such an important teaching tool. So the most important thing is to keep it away from my painting and expensive electronics. Okay. And over here, just don't want it to drip on the painting, everybody. I was moving pretty good with the workflow. This kind of slowed things down. So I'm going to incorporate a second table that's going to be to my right. And that's going to free up a lot of space on my work area to kind of not let this happen too much. Oh, yes, so raw umber, when you're doing your oil paintings, Juan? Yes, and sepia is really good as well. So yeah, raw umber. So here's a color. Can you get Utrecht paints by you? They're in Brooklyn. There's a color I want you to try. When you want to get like really beautiful neutral transition tones that aren't gray, that's going to kill your work. This is Davies Gray. It's by Utrecht and it's really fantastic. If you can get some Davies Gray. See that? That's their artist oil color line. And it's really amazing. You're able to get these really soft, wispy colors. Even an upgrade from raw umber, which I like. Okay, so disaster averted, I think. So now we're going to part 2, right? So now we're going to get this right here. And I'm going to mix it 1-to-1. With your friend in mind, 4011. There we go. And you can see how, you know, it doesn't assimilate really quickly, so you really have to mix it for at least 30 seconds to a minute. Really mix that in. So little by little, we're just developing her. And I'm looking at it not as an airbrush, but, you know, more like, you know, my sensibilities of working in pastel or oils. So I have a different, I'm not going for, you know, super photorealistic to get skin texture and all that. Skin texture comes from paying attention to values and color shifts and shapes, but I'm not looking for every pore. If you go to the museum and you look at the paintings, you're not going to see every pore. You're not going to see those things. So that's how I was trained, you know. Winsor & Newton produces a Davies Gray. Oh, very cool. I think Winsor & Newton is good. Yeah, so I would love to see, to hear your findings. So thank you for that. I hope you do try it. So here is 1:1, and this is our uh, detail raw umber. So I'm going to try and use this to soften the hair and see how that works. It's going to be a little bit on the green side, but that's okay. So remember, I softened it with the orange mixture, and now I'm just glazing over it with this raw umber. And let me get some of these colors out of the way. These open cups. I need like sippy cups to put my paint in, so it doesn't spill, like for the little kids use for their juice. So I'm just softening the edges, right? So now we're going for the hair. We had the helmet, we have the wig, now we're going for the hair, right? So little by little. So I'm just softening this edge here. And it's nice because now she's starting to look much more natural. And we do what we have to do in the beginning, using freehand shields, freehand stencils, but it leaves everything a very hard, harsh edge. So this is just going to soften those edges. Yeah, this raw umber with the detail is so nice. Oh, Juan says, I think my cat will get a raw umber color tone. I gotta be careful, definitely. She's in the room, so I have to shut that door. It's a good thing she sleeps during the day, right, Juan? And I can glaze this over her eyebrows a little bit. So the raw umber, very much like the sepia, is, an all-purpose color. You could fix some areas that are too light, right? You could add some depth, you know. It really darkens really nice, but still has a transparency to it, which I love. I'm saving for some paintbrush techniques, right? So I don't want to do too much. For every job, there's a perfect tool, and with a painting, the perfect tool is not always the airbrush. So remember that. There's no there's no points in my book for doing it 100% airbrush. I don't care if it's done with 100%, 110% airbrush. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you had fun painting. You painted what you wanted to paint, and you got a result that you're looking for. And whatever makes the best result is what we should be using. So that's important. Oh man, dinner is served on the table. Juan, thank you so much. Say hi to Natalia and Sophia for me. And I hope you have a great weekend. I hope to talk to you soon. Keep doing those amazing paintings. They're so inspiring. Thank you so much. I only have 6 more minutes on this live stream. So I gave a 2-hour bonus live stream. It's going to be recorded so you can watch it in record, which is really great. And so that's important. So I really enjoy doing this and sort of like a bonus live stream. And so it means we could do more, get on to the next painting, and learn more, right? And that's what it's all about. If you guys make better paintings, then I'm happy. Okay, so this is a nice dark color here. So I want to work on this dark inside the mandible just before the chin. See how I can darken that up, bringing it forward just a little bit, right? And so we're in the last 5 minutes of the live stream. So thank you everyone for hanging out today. Really enjoyed it. You know, that was great. And remember, Wednesday nights, if you come Wednesday nights, I just need 5 super chats. And I get 5 super chats, there's going to be a Thursday live stream. So, you know, and it doesn't have to be like a $20 super chat. It could be a $2 super chat. I just need my goal of 5 super chats. And then we have a bonus live stream, which is great. Forces me to pick it up a notch, right? Which is fantastic. And you can see I'm softening that hair as we go, and even putting in some detail in the last 5 minutes. So it's so great we got even more done today. Hair also is affected by the light. And this raw umber is really great. So when we come back on Wednesday, oh, thanks so much, Dan. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you for hanging out. Thank you, sir. And yeah, little by little, we're getting there. And you remember when I first started it, you know, that one Wednesday 7 weeks ago, uh, you know, it wasn't coming out right. But the thing was, we stuck with it, right? And we didn't get emotional about it. And we just said to ourselves, we're just going to stick with the program. We're not going to worry about how it looks now. And that's what we did. And it just really comes together. But it won't. There'll be a 0 chance of it coming together if we get emotional and, you know, try and fix it and ruin the surface, right? We just have to slowly fix things. Also next week where I want to really go into the wing and maybe establish the background. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the background. I don't want it just like this. Maybe, you know, we'll see, but I think I want to do something a little special in the background. With the hairs, you want to make sure that it's paramount that you get the direction of the hairs. The direction of the hairs is going to give us a clue, visual clue on, you know, what's the shape of her skull underneath and the volume. A lot done today. We did all airbrush techniques. Sometimes we do a lot of paintbrush techniques, but today was 2 hours of airbrush techniques, and I hope that helps. Oh, and Dan says, don't forget to check that message I sent you a couple of hours ago. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. It's in the comments on the last night's live stream. I will. Thank you, Dan, in advance. Always great to hear from you. I'll check that right after the live stream, which is over right now. Dan, thank you so much for hanging out. Juan and JC and Michael was here. Ryan, thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much, Mark, Airbrush Dungeon, Bobby, Mickey Dredge. You guys are all fantastic. I appreciate you. Thanks, Tone. It was just a fun bonus live stream. It's going to be in record so you can watch it and just follow along. Also, if you really want to follow along, there's a link in the description where you can buy the line drawing and the stencils if you want to follow along with all the recorded live streams. That would be fantastic. So everyone have a great week. Hopefully I'll hear from you over the weekend or maybe at Steve Leahy's live stream on Monday. Take care, everyone. I hope you have a great week, and thanks for making my Thursday afternoon so cool. Thank you, guys.